Hello and welcome to FE7 Hector Hard Mode Intended Ranks. If you don't know what intended ranks are, you must have missed my introduction video, which you can find right here. Don't worry, happens to the best of us, or maybe you just didn't have an hour to spare. In that case, let me recap what we're doing here real quick. FE7 has an internal ranking system that you can check on your preparation screen. You've probably seen it sometime. At the end of your playthrough, you can check how you did in the battle history page. If you've got 5 stars in all the 5 ranks, you get an S rank. That's the goal here. However, the data used to determine your ranking in Hector Mode is seriously messed up. All the Hector Mode exclusive chapters have 0 in every requirement. Fortunately, the game data does contain a set of rankings seemingly intended for Hector Mode, and it's that set of ranks that we'll be using for this playthrough. This does pose some serious challenges though, because especially XP requirements are just brutal. But Altissimo, the author of this run, decided that wasn't hard enough, so she decided to do all these things as well. There you go, you're all caught up. Enjoy the episode. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Hector Hard Mode Intended Ranks playthrough, chapters 11 and 12. We're on the main course now. I'm Mecha, I'm not playing, I'm just commentating, but who is playing is Altissimo. How are you doing today?
I'm good, how are you doing today?
I'm happy, because I'm watching another good FE7 playthrough. It's chapter 11, you have almost no agency on what to do in this one because you only have 2 playable characters, but I'm sure at least there's some thought that has to go into who gets killed sometimes. Like, I think you said Hector is easy enough to cap out, but I also think Matthew needs some serious training when he's force deployed, right?
Yeah, he does, and I could have spent more time on this chapter giving some kills to either Hector or Matthew. In a failed attempt to do this challenge, I did do that, but in this particular attempt, I decided not to, largely because, like I said, Hector's going to cap anyway, but also because it requires a lot of vulneraries in order to be able to take everyone down here, and it also wastes turns, and I just decided it wasn't worth it when I could just get more levels, probably easier in other chapters in the future. So this chapter plays out more like an LTC.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of other clears I have seen, because there's really only so many things you can do, and the value of a turn in this chapter has to be ultra low compared to other chapters for sure, when we're talking about tactics rank versus experience. So I guess that...
Yeah, absolutely.
But you do have that self-imposed challenge of having to get all the treasure. Does that mean that Matthew has to get both the red gem and the lockpick?
That I ended up deciding not to do, because getting the lockpick, like if you steal the red gem from the thief, he runs away, and then you have to go get past that armor knight in order to do anything with that thief. So I didn't end up going for it. He may have been able to, looking at the chapter now. Maybe the thief wouldn't have been able to get past the armor knight. But I just ended up deciding not to do that and going to clear the chapter in 6 turns. Yeah,
with Hector having a traditional show-off against Wire where he has to dodge 1 out of 2 attacks, I think, in order to survive and get the 2-hit kill.
Yeah. If you want to do the safe clear, you can have him wait so that Wire gets the first hit and then Hector can finish him on player phase. Because I knew what the RNG was going to be like, I knew that one of the attacks was going to miss, though.
Yeah, just like Limb Mode, this one is RNG routed, although this time not by Fionord Quester, but by you yourself. So,
yeah.
Just for repetition while we're getting to chapter 12, you didn't go for... You tried not to do, like, unreliable arrow burns for, like, 1% crits and everything. You just figured out a route of somewhat reliable strategies that will work. Is that a good way to summarize it?
Yeah. With that, in every case, in every chapter, I did reset the game before starting the chapter, and that does matter because of the way enemy stats can be generated, and obviously the RNG is different if it's coming off the previous chapter. In chapter 11 specifically, the archer has a chance to roll 1 extra defense, the archer that Matthew kills, and if he does, then Matthew can't 2-hit KO him. So that's actually important to keep in mind.
Yeah. So this chapter...
Two rounds.
Yeah. So this chapter, chapter 12, there's a lot more units at play. Oswin and Sarah in the north, and then we have Marcus in the south. Marcus just straight up ran to the secret book village. I think that says a lot about what kind of playthrough we're watching. I was expecting what someone might call the scrub strategy, where Marcus picks up one of the other units and then weakens enemies. But I guess even then you're losing out on XP that you could have given through chip. Like Lowen gets 10 from chipping a brigand. That's still value, right?
Right. That was part of the reason I decided not to do that. And the other thing is that if Marcus is rescuing a unit, that unit can't do anything. And I do want to get all my scrubs trained, so there isn't really a good candidate for that. Maybe if this were like more a traditional ranked run where where it didn't have insane EXP requirements, I could have picked up Rebecca, because in regular ranked, the archers are actually useless. and you don't need to train them in order to get the EXP rank. But this isn't a regular ranked run.
No, this is intended ranks where XP is more strict than in vanilla, and you already want to train every unpromoted unit level 20, right? So basically XP is a given because you imposed another challenge upon yourself. And yeah, I guess that means we're going to see a lot of combining people like Dorcas and Bartray and Rebecca and Lowen and Elliewood on these enemies. And that's why some of the future chapters are going to be kind of long. Like this one alone is 9 minutes.
Yeah. That's basically where the bulk of the time goes, is just kind of turtling through chapters in order to get kills on units that have no business being there. It's not very efficient.
Yeah, speaking of business being there, I remember, I mean, right now I know some good strategies to keep Oswald and Hector involved in combat and Matthew and Sarah not involved, but I always found it a little tricky sometimes when the Pegasus Knights get to Matthew and Sarah. It's like, once they get in that area where they are, there's almost no way to get them out of there.
Oh, absolutely. There's only one Pegasus Knight that's going to end up going in that area, and it's going to be on low enough health that it gets killed instead of actually being like a consistent threat to them.
That makes sense.
The other Pegasus, the other Pegasi, whatever, just end up getting killed by Hector and Osmond before they get a chance to go that far west.
Ooh, the rigged Bartray miss? What's going on there?
Yeah. So basically, it works. That's the best I can say about it.
Trust the plan, Bartray.
Basically. Yeah, there's a couple places where I intentionally use a unit and they miss, but like it's intentional because everything that happens afterward is something that I want to happen. So I didn't feel the need to go out of my way to try to rig the hit in addition to it. This Bartray gets unlucky here. He gets a couple of misses in this chapter. But otherwise, it doesn't happen a whole lot. I think it happens with Rebecca a couple times later on as well, but sometimes it makes more sense for the unit to miss than everything after that to go according to plan.
Yeah, I'm glad that the combat rank isn't really that strict, because I think this enemy phase was like 6 enemies attacking you and not taking any damage in return.
Yeah, I've mentioned before, there's going to be a part where Florida just sleeps and gets attacked by like 12 enemies a turn, and it still doesn't kill my combat rank. If this were FE6, it probably would. But FE7 is a little less strict about that because enemies do tend to die in 2 hits.
Mm-hmm. So is there a certain like set order you try to use for the scrub squad down south? Is there one unit you're trying to train more than others?
When I started this run, basically what I did was I made a list of every unit that I would be bringing to each map and what levels I expected or wanted to get on that unit during the map. So for like a lot of these early chapters where I can't pick my deployment, it's more about just trying to get them up a level than anything else. Rebecca's probably the one I want to get the most kills with because it's difficult to set up kills for archers otherwise. But other than that, Elliewood I want to get some experience on. Bartray I want to get at least 1 speed level up before we get into chapter 14. Apart from that, everyone else is just kind of whatever they can do whenever they can do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I feel like with all these units at the south, besides maybe Lowen, they're going to be suboptimal to deploy later on anyway, so anything they can get is welcome, but not a whole lot of optimizing to be done. The boss is going left. I think if you put like Marcus on the mountain down south, he goes south, but otherwise he just runs left no matter what, right?
Yeah, that is, I usually get him to go south, but in this run I took too long getting over to the mountain there, so he ended up going west. And so I have to run up to meet him then, which is why everyone is heading north.
Oh, I see. I'm guessing Marcus could make it there if he tried. Everyone else down south seems to be kind of far out of position, but maybe this chapter is going to take a couple more turns than I expected to. I guess Hector and Osmond are already having so much trouble with that Brigand, so we might be here for a little while longer anyway.
Yeah, the Brigand is definitely one of the most annoying things to deal with in this chapter. I also want to get some shopping done. And, you know, Matthew has the red gem, which is the only source of money you have at this point, so I do need a couple turns in order to set up the shopping and weapon distribution in order to make that happen.
So I guess we're selling the red gem and keeping the secret book?
Yeah. I don't really have a particular reason why I'm choosing to do that. I guess the red gem I think it gets you more money. I don't even know now that I think about it.
I think the red gem might be 3k and secret book might be 4k, but it's not a very big difference.
I didn't even think about selling the secret book for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. I have these horrendous memories of this Brigand. I think one time I weakened him to like healing AI, and so he went on the mountains. Sometimes I think enemies wants to go for forts when they're low on HP in this chapter. I think the threshold is like 30%. but they sometimes just go somewhere else, like besides a fort or on a mountain. Have you had to deal with that?
Not really, actually. I mean, I've had them be annoying on the mountains before, but I don't think I've ever gotten them so weakened that they just head away and stay there. In this particular case, I'm basically trying to bait him off of helpful terrain by moving Oswin and Hector away.
And
so that I can get the kill with someone who can hit him.
For sure. Is this this shopping trip, is that like detrimental to the funds rank? Because we're spending money without using the silver card for it, so it is just lost money basically.
It is, and there's nothing you can do about it until you get the silver card or until you get gold. But a few things do need to be bought in order to actually give some characters a chance at life.
That's one way to put it. I mean, I remember, I think Don on 0%, for example, would skip this armory because it didn't sell javelins or hand axes, so it's just like, whatever, I'll just make do with what I got. But I suppose, in your case, something like the Wolf Beal is something you don't want to just use up.
Yeah, Wolf Beal, Rapier, don't want to use those up. I want to be able to get, I think one of the two fighters only has a hand axe, so I want to be able to get them an iron axe.
Oh my god, that was a sick level up on Rebecca.
Yeah, that was rigged. I did my best to make the arrangement, like movements in a specific order so that she would get, I think it was at least strength and speed, or one of the two.
Fair enough. Do you ever like not want to get strength and speed because that means more combats, which means more XP, or is that too scuffed?
I hadn't thought about it, but the rigging the levels only comes on a few specific units anyway. I think it's like Elliewood, the two archers, Canas, and Heath are the ones that I'm most worried about getting rigged level ups on. So I don't pay much attention to what happens with other characters, honestly.
I'm glad you set up that one brigand for Marcus. He really needed that help.
I was hoping to kill him with my scrubs, but I couldn't.
That's unfortunate.
So I just ended up doing enough, like as much chip damage as I could before killing him.
Okay, well at least Marcus can get the good weakening with the Iron Sword. I know in normal mode, Iron Sword alone is enough to get him to where anyone can kill him, but here in Hector Hard Mode, I guess you need a couple extra scrub squads.
Just as many like hits as I can get on an enemy is more EXP. So an EXP is more challenging than combat rank. So
that makes sense. All right, Elliewood gets his rigged HP skill level up. I'm sure that was just what he was missing to become good.
That wasn't rigged. I wish it was better.
Me too. All right, Elliewood, maybe you get a better chance in future chapters. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time for chapter 13.
Bye.